Nobody knows what the future holds. What we do on this channel is use numbers for the last 100 years from the S&P 500. And we're going to project ahead for the request on this one for 35 to 40 years. We don't know whether we're going to have returns like the Depression years where we had a down decade or a down decade like the 2000 to 2009 or some really good decades. But if you look at this chart, you can just see there's if you're in it for 35 or 40 years, you're going to catch some really good years and maybe some down decades. But what we do on this channel is just run numbers for people to see the range you might have depending on what happens in the future. If the returns are like 1924, these would be the returns. This individual said they have $10,000 in their beginning balance. $10,000. They say they want to know where they'd be in 35 to 40 years. So we're going to be looking at a 36 to 40 year column here. Said he can put in 10,000 a year. Yes, 10,000. He can do 10,000 a year, which would be 833 a month. So what we're going to do is run the numbers. Again, these are 1924 numbers going down through here, and this is a summary of that. For example, here's the 15-year period. It'd be 269,540, and you're going down through here. We're going to be looking at the 35 and 40-year column. Well, look at the numbers, folks. 4.6 million if the returns going forward like 1924 for 35 years, and over 7 million for the 40-year period. But we want to be realistic. Not every year is going to be like this. In fact, none of them are going to be exactly going forward. But that's why we come up with a range. I'm going to go ahead and update this. We'll be looking at the 36 to 40-year column. These are the amounts you would have put in over a 36-year period. 370,000. There's a little round off error there for the 36-year period, and 410,000 for the 40-year period. But look at the numbers for the 36-year period. Actually, let's look at the 40-year period. Put in 410,000, you ended up with more than 10 times the amount. This Redmond means that's the worst case scenario in the last 40 years, last 100 years for a 40-year period. Median in this column is 6.796. There's actually a time period for a 40-year period to have over 12 million. So that's the range we're talking about, anywhere from 4 million to 12 million looking forward, using the returns for the last 100 years. He also said he wanted to do a 3% COLA. I left that out. So let's go ahead and do that. In other words, 833 a month, which would be 10,000 a year. And the next year would be 10,300, which would be 858 a month. So we want to go ahead and update this. Obviously, that means you're putting more money in over a 40-year period. Again, we're going to look at the 36, 38, and 40-year period. In this case, would have put in 764,000 over the 4-year period. In the worst case scenario, you'd have over $5 million. This is actually the breakdown for the 40-year period. Let's look at the 36-year period first. Instead of scrolling down through here, this kind of gives you a summary. 98% of the time, you'd have over $4 million given this scenario. Using the returns for the last 100 years, you would have put in 642,000, and in the worst case scenario, you would have 3.798, and 98% of the time you have over 4 million, except this time right here. 40% of the time, in color coded in blue, you'd have over 6 million, and 14% of the time, color coded in gold, you'd have over $8 million going down through here. Again, the worst case scenario, 3.798, the median 5.506, and the maximum is 12 million. Let's go over to the 40-year period now. That's what we do on this channel. We can run all kinds of different numbers. In this case, given this scenario, starting out with 10,000 and putting in 10,000 a month, increasing that by 3% a year, you put in 764,000. And in the worst 40-year period in the last 100 years, you'd have $5.613 million. The median in this column, 8.586 million, and the best case scenario, 17.290 million. This is the breakdown for that 40-year period. Again, putting in 764,000. 97% of the time, you'd have over $6 million of return or anything like the last 100 years. 66% of the time, color coded in blue, you'd have over $8 million. And look at this, folks, 26% of the time, color coded in gold, again, we're looking at this column, you'd have over $10 million. Now, we always like to take account of inflation over a 40-year period, given a 3% inflation rate. These numbers would not have the same buying power. These are the buying power you would have of these numbers corresponding to each one of these years. In other words, this 8.586 would only have the buying power of 2.632 million, but still not too shabby. Multi-millionaire status given this scenario. But that's what we do on this channel. We run numbers for people. Just give me your beginning balance, your monthly amount, and whether you want to increase like this individual did, and we'll run the numbers and we'll run it for any time period you want, and you can project ahead what you might have in the future, given these kind of returns, which is it really going to be any worse than the 1930s or the 2000s? We believe it's probably going to be within that range. Again, the range for the 40-year period, given this scenario, putting in this kind of money would be between 5.613 million, which actually looks like it's 1935, and 17.29 million, with the median again being 8.586 million. That's what we do on this channel. We love running numbers for people. Please consider subscribing. Please share this channel with others. It doesn't seem like the message is getting out. I could really use your help. Please share this with your friends, anybody that you know. Let them know there's a channel out there that will run numbers for them. Not only do we do it in the accumulation stage, but we also do it in the withdrawal stage, and we can run the numbers there. That's for other videos. I've got over 500 videos out there I'd love for people to see, just running numbers for people and pointing out some financial information that people really need to know. It really doesn't take that much to get to $1 million if you start young enough and have this kind of a time frame. Again, please subscribe, please share, please like the video, and thanks for watching.